Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Performance Podcast. Welcome, all new listeners, and welcome back to those who have heard our content in the past. If you want to know three simple solutions for shoulder pain in the barbell athlete, you have to tune into this episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Performance Podcast. Welcome, all new listeners, and welcome back to those who have heard our content in the past. If you want to know three simple solutions for shoulder pain in the barbell athlete, you have to tune into this episode. Before I go on to the podcast, what is new and better at Sports Performance? It's a very special episode for me. It is on the eve of our first annual Fit Fest. This is our eighth anniversary in business and helping the community members of San Diego and Chula Vista and people like you, all the listeners. And this was our way of giving back to the community and celebrating essentially with everybody that we've been through many trials and tribulations to get to this point of an eighth anniversary, and we're very blessed, and we never forget what we do and why we do that. And my wife and I, Stephanie, we've been reflecting on the event tomorrow, and we are so excited to see everybody and truly just celebrate that we're here. And we've been able to help so many people across 8 years. That's unbelievable to say that. And we've been doing this podcast for about 4 years now, 3 or 4 years. And every step of this process has been amazing. And it's all been through the recommendation and feedback of you, the listeners, the community member, everybody that we help. And so that's what is new. And it has gotten us very, very emotional. To say the least. And so we're so excited tomorrow. I promised my wife that I would not shed tears when I deliver a quick speech on just opening the services and everything going on tomorrow. So if you're in San Diego or Chula Vista for the event, please join us at FitFest, and we will see you there. We will be having an amazing time, some food and music, and just really good conversations. So excited to see everybody there. Anyways, on to the episode. All right. So if this episode is for the barbell athlete, and if you never heard that term before, what does that mean, Chris? It is for anybody who enjoys functional fitness, maybe even bodybuilding, powerlifting, CrossFit, F45, Orange Theory, Olympic weightlifting, you name it. Anybody who touches a barbell. And if you've ever touched a barbell and you've done maybe bench press or shoulder press, you have developed shoulder pain some point along that journey. And the reason why we did this episode is because we've had so many people tell us, Chris, that helped so much. I wish I would have known that beforehand. I wish I would have known this. I would have done that. And your feedback has been very helpful. And I wish my friends or family would have known this sooner. So we're going to do this episode. So if you have friends, family, somebody suffering with shoulder pain, maybe that's you or somebody else, or maybe you've gone through it and you've had our advice and you want somebody to experience, some of the feedback as well, share this episode. This is for you, literally, for anybody who needs the help. So what are my three top tips to make sure that you alleviate shoulder pain and that you can manage it, know when to seek help, and ultimately how to prevent future worsening? And that's really the top three things that we're going to talk about today. Not just the exercise and the treatment techniques, all those are going to vary, like based on who you see. But ultimately, if you can understand this framework, these three things, you can manage shoulder pain anytime, and you don't have to depend on anyone. I promise. And that's really, like, if you ask me what my mission and goal in my professional development or professional career is, and what we're doing at Sports Performance, we're literally here to empower you, our clients, the people, the community, so that you never have to really depend on your physician or anybody else. Like, you gain the knowledge and you can literally learn how to manage your own injuries and prevent them. And so you become autonomous, you become very independent, and ultimately you now know how to manage yourself. And that is our dream. Like, if we can have clients coming in and saying, hey, I tried this, I did these three things, I did this, and I listened to all your stuff, and here it is. And that's perfect, because now we know that you've hit every single marker that we would do. And then, research and the way we manage people is always going to be changing because people are different, body types are different, injuries are different. And so we always have different solutions. But this is the framework that we give to our clients, and we want to share it with you. All right. So what are the three things? All right. Number one, the first solution is what to expect and what to do. So let me give you a framework. There's three critical time points after you develop shoulder pain that will dictate your progress and how bad this is really going to be. The first phase is the acute phase. This is where in the first 0 to 72 hours, so the first 3 days are super critical. So the next time that you have shoulder pain, you almost start a timer. You got to know the date. You have 72 hours to control that swelling and inflammation. 72. If you don't control it then and it persists past 72 hours, now we've all had shoulder pain, maybe like a little tweak here and there, and it goes away, right? Miraculously. But then there's other things that they just linger, like it just doesn't go away. Now, if it lasts beyond 72 hours, the next time point is 2 weeks. Now, you say, well, Chris, like what happens if it's 4 or 5 days? It's very rare, I'm telling you. After practicing for over 14 years, seeing thousands of professional athletes over my time, community members, people of all ages, I'm telling you, most things can be categorized into these time points. So if you have pain in the first 72 hours, that's great. Then if it resolves, great. If it lasts past 72, you're going into the next phase, which is 2 weeks. So now you have all this time to help reduce the strain on this thing and control the inflammation up to that 2-week mark. If it goes beyond 2 weeks, you are now going into the last one, which is 6 weeks. It's going to take you 6 weeks to resolve that pain. Now you ask, well, Chris, like what's the most critical? The most critical is the 0 to 72 hours. It is the thing that sets up everything. If not, it cascades into worsening and worsening and worsening. Now, is there anything beyond 6 weeks? Absolutely. Then it's 3 months. So if you're like, wow, I can set myself up for success if I don't irritate it in the first 72. Yes, that's correct. So you have to resolve it initially in that first 72. If not, it can go all the way to that 3-month mark. For most clients that we introduce this framework to, they're just mind blown because they're like, I just kept pushing past. I thought I was going to go away. That's right. You kept worsening it. And if you understand one thing, leave it alone for 72 hours. That allows you to set yourself up and say, is this really worth it? Now, if you have a competition or event, I can't control that. I understand. That's where the third solution is really going to help you. And having an external source of education or treatment will help you in those first 72. But for most people who maybe don't seek out treatment or have never sought it out, or maybe you kind of know what to do and you're looking for, extra tips and pointers here and there, the framework is so critical. It's the thing that I introduce to every single client, probably in the first or second session, so they can understand it. Most of them are like, well, it's kind of too late because I'm already in the 6-month mark or the 3-month mark. I get it. But you have to know you're going to get hurt again. I promise you. And that's a promise I'm going to make to all my clients. I promise you, you'll get hurt again. If you are active in this world today, you will get hurt again. It's just the nature of the beast. And I think if you can come to terms with that, it becomes easier to manage your body. You will get hurt and you need to manage it in the first 72 hours. If you don't, it's going to go to the 2-week mark. If you don't resolve it by 2 weeks, it's going to 6. You don't resolve it by 6, it's going to 3 months. Welcome to chronic pain. And that's what happens when people develop chronic pain. When I talk about chronic pain, it's I can't lift my shoulder anymore. It's so stiff. I can't even do these other things. I can't even sleep on it. Yeah, because you let it get there. You let it get there. No one else. Your body said shut down and it's shutting you down. That's why people have chronic pain. So the critical thing here is don't allow chronic pain to exist, which is manage it in 72, manage it in 2, manage it in 6. If not, you got 3 months. All right, that's the first simple solution. Know your timelines, okay? Number 2, when to seek help. All right, so now you're in this whole process. Now you're like, oh, Chris, I got the timelines. I know how to manage it. What do I do next? So the when to seek help. All right, I don't think you need to do it in this first 72 unless you have a competition or something very important coming up. Let's take that out and we'll talk about that afterwards. If you don't have an urgent event coming up, I don't think you need to do it in the first 72 because I think some things just resolve on their own and you kind of have to figure out your body. If it lasts longer than 2 weeks, immediately see somebody. Well, you can say like, well, Chris, I can wait till the 6 weeks. Okay, that's completely up to you. It's what you can tolerate. However, you risk worsening it and getting it to the 3-month mark, and nobody wants that. That's why I say if it's longer than 2 weeks, continues to bother you with sleeping, normal day-to-day activities, you need to see help. You need to see somebody. Now, if you're stubborn and thick-headed and won't seek out help, I can't control that. But if you're looking to resolve things and get rid of them for good, if it's been more than 2 weeks, continues to bother you in your day-to-day life, seek some help. Now, it doesn't mean you have to go get surgery or physician. No. Now, here's a caveat. I'm not talking about your physician. I'm talking about like a healthcare practitioner who wants to do it without injections, medications, or surgery, who wants to do it naturally. How do I do that? Well, then that's like that's the simple solution number 3. But anyways, so simple solution number 2, find help if it's existing past 2 weeks and bothering your day-to-day activity. Now, if you have a timeline, if you have an event and you don't have those 3 days, you got to seek help within those 72 hours. Now, I'm saying if you have an event in that next 2 weeks, you got to do it fast. Just make sure it's nothing like major that's going to be long and interfere with whatever that is. It can be your wedding, it could be anything that that's going to be very, very important. A CrossFit competition, a marathon, a triathlon, a softball competition, whatever that is. So there you have the guideline and when to seek help. Those are my 2 simple solutions. Number 3, recruit your healthcare team. Now I say recruit because you're the captain. It's your body. Like nobody tells you what to do, right? Like you're the captain. We're here to help and support. Like we're your team. And I think that healthcare is changing for the better. It's putting in the hands of the consumer. And what that allows you to do is know that you have a lot of choices when it comes to who you seek out and how you want to do that. And I am a very big proponent of that. I think if I could help everybody become more independent and less reliant on medication, surgery, or injections, we're going to do great in this world. Because a lot of this stuff, injections, medications, and surgeries from a musculoskeletal standpoint is very preventable. Now there's age and normal wear and tear. That's hard because if you're 70 and you have a torn rotator cuff, I can't help that. But if you're 16 and you have a healthy body and you want to learn how to control this and manage your body, wow, you're ahead of the game. Now I'm talking about the 25 to 45-year-old who has aches and pains, loves to do barbell, work in some form of fashion. You do bench press, you do shoulder press, you do clean and jerks, you do snatch, you do whatever it is that you do with the barbell. But the reality is that if you let it get to a certain point, you keep pushing and not listening to your body, not seeking help, you're going to be in those situations. Now, when I say recruit, I need you to actively start seeking the people that you love working with, not who's assigned to you or who you are assigned to, meaning whether that's your health insurance or whoever it is, you have a choice in this planet. You can choose the most skilled. You can choose the person who you jive with the best. You can choose the person who's the best qualified. You can choose the person who you love working with. And there's surveys out there in the world of psychology that look at what's the number one predictor of compliance with a nutrition program, with a weight loss program, with an exercise program, with a healthcare program, whatever it is. You know what the number one predictor is? That you believe in the product. It's the number one predictor of compliance. Now you might like, whoa, like what about the product? What about all this other stuff? It doesn't matter. If you don't believe in the product, it doesn't work. It's very hard. Now there's outliers to that, right? Like there's medication and pain relievers and all those things. But when you talk about a product that requires a service, you have to believe in it and you have to find somebody who you trust and know and value their opinion. And if you can do that and you know that you trust them and you believe in this is going to work, and like you know that they're there for the right reason to help you, you create this arsenal, this team. So what I mean by that is you might seek out a physical therapist, that your local massage therapist, your local acupuncturist, whoever that is. You have to develop your team. And I say this because I've worked in the professional world, like the professional athlete world. I worked professional sports for a decade. I've worked with a lot of pro athletes, and this is how it works. Pro athletes seek out the help from the practitioners they believe in, the ones who have an active voice in their opinion to help the athlete. And we started sports performance for that same reason, that we wanted our patients, our clients, our athletes to all have an active voice and be able to seek out help by people that they trusted and people who were out for their best interest. Now, you have to recruit wherever you live, whether you're in Kansas, Australia, wherever you are. I am urging you to start recruiting your team. Now, it might take a lot of interviews or a lot of, I call them interviews, but a lot of maybe visits to different places to be like, wow, that person really cares about me. They know what they're talking about. They know, I know how to work with athletes or active people, and they totally get who I am and what I do. Now you're just starting to develop your team. So ready for this? If you have shoulder pain and you used my timelines, 72 hours, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, then you understood when to seek out help after 2 weeks if it's involving day-to-day, aches and pains still, or in the first 72 hours if you have a competition or something important coming up. If you already have that team, guess what? You can pick up that phone. What do I need to do? Like they can just work on that guideline. They can tell you what to do, and it doesn't have to be this long, drawn-out process. You can literally just see them, make sure it's okay. We call it a tune-up session in the world of sports performance. We call it a tune-up session, and then just make sure like everything's good. Here's the timeline. I'm going to give you this. Here's the outline for this. For the first 2, don't do this. For the first 4 weeks, don't do this. And at 6 weeks, you'll be ready to rock and roll. Oh, perfect. That's all I wanted. And what that does is it allows you to control how you manage the aches and pains that are going to hit you for the next few decades of your life. And if you're like, well, I'm not going to get hurt, that this is probably your first time getting hurt then, because you're going to get hurt. I manage aches and pains all day, me personally, the clients I serve, and I mentor thousands of physical therapists all over the country. And I know that people are going to get hurt for the rest of their life. And the best thing we can do, instead of relying on, healthcare that requires surgery, injections, or medications, is be more proactive on how to manage your own self. Now, I've talked to several athletes. I go to a CrossFit gym in Chula Vista, and I've talked to several athletes, and they say, Chris, I really appreciate your podcast. I really appreciate your approach because it allows me to manage and know when to push and pull, but most importantly, not have to rely on somebody to tell me what to do all the time. And that's really what we want to do here, is give you that freedom and independence to be able to just manage yourself and say, you know what, I really don't need an MRI or an X-ray. I just need to back it down for the second week. If it continues to bother me for after that second week, I'm going to seek out help from my team. And if they say, hey, it's not getting better after 3 months, then seek out an MRI and X-ray. What you did there is you now controlled how to push and pull when you're dealing with aches and pains. And to be honest with you, complete honesty, transparent, this is the way I manage my own injuries. It's the way I've managed them in pro sports, the way I manage my injuries, manage my family's injuries, and all my clients I serve. Why? Because it just works. It's built on science, years and decades of experience, and it's a great way to empower yourself. So I wanted to give you 3 simple solutions. So let's review them. Number 1, know what to expect and what to do at every stage. 72 hours, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, and 12 weeks. When do you seek out help? Anything longer than 2 weeks that is not improving and continues to bother you with day-to-day tasks. And then how to prevent future pain. So third one is you got to recruit that team. So in recruiting that team, you know that you'll have somebody to help whenever it is that you need it. And let me qualify for that third step. you need to continue exercising and getting blood flow to that area through pain-free movements. Once it's out of pain, and you might feel a tweak and you say, okay, well, should I stop? No, continue going as long as it's pain-free. Keep going. I want to give you something called a red, yellow, and green light system that we developed at Sports Performance. Let me tell you what that is. If it bothers you with like a clean and jerk or a bench press or a shoulder press, and it bothers you during the activity, stop. Or sorry, excuse me. If it bothers you during the activity and it persists after the activity, that's a yellow light. If it bothers you with shoulder press, bench press, whatever activity, it bothers you after the activity, and it bothers you the next morning when you wake up, that's a red light. Stop. Now, if it only bothers you with shoulder press, bench press, and it stops immediately after you discontinue exercise and you can work on the normal day-to-day like life, and it doesn't bother you throughout the day, that's a green light. Continue going. So if things bother you, but only during the activity, nothing else, it's a green light. No matter what, keep going, no problem. If it bothers you after the activity and it persists throughout the day, but goes away the next day, that's a yellow light. Be aware of that. If you do the activity, it hurts, continues to bother you throughout the day, and you wake up with it, that's a red light. You might have to go see somebody with your healthcare team. So on that third part, I said, recruit your team. You have to know to continue exercising and develop continue with blood flow through those pain-free movements. Use my red, yellow, and green light system, and don't stop exercising. Don't stop. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't ever stop. I don't care what your surgeon, your physician says. Don't stop, unless it's completely torn or broken. That might be a little hard. So, in the world of exercise or movement, there on one side you have stop doing the thing. On this side is you push through pain. Somewhere in the middle is a happy medium. Unless it's broken or torn, I get it. Don't do it. Don't push past pain. Somewhere in the middle is this happy medium. And that's where you have to push and pull, work with your healthcare team, make sure you understand how to push and pull and not have to depend on anybody else. You might need some guidance along the way to give you feedback. But ultimately, guess what? You now know how to manage your own pain, and you can work on barbell exercises and snatch and cleans and bench press and shoulder press and do all the things that you love without ever stopping. That's the key. How do I not stop? Is the best way to talk to say that. So, so 3 simple shoulder pain solutions for the barbell athlete. I hope that helps. For those of you who have been listening to us for many years, I know we have a lot of listeners around the world. I want to say thank you. You know, to be in business for 8 years, I learned a lot of lessons along the way. And somebody asked me the other day, said, Chris, would you uh, would you have opened Sports Performance 8 years ago, knowing everything that you know now? And I said very respectfully, F yes. Yes, I would. And they said, why? I said, you know, because of the stories and the growth that happens when you see people come out of pain, become more healthy, not have to depend on injections or medications or surgeries, avoid surgeries. You know how many people have come to us and said, I didn't have to have surgery. Like, you know, the quality of life that we've improved, or my son didn't miss their college scholarship because you got him through that knee pain. My daughter went from, you know, working with you in middle school into high school and now is playing in college. Like those stories, seeing people, it's even hard talking about it right now. You see these people do more and better in life, and you were just something along that pathway. All you did was you were part of that journey, and that's all we're doing on this planet. Like we're just here being part of each other's lives and helping each other as in one community or virtual, whatever that is nowadays. Just do more. And for me, sports performance has really opened my eyes. I'm born and raised in San Ysidro, California. I come from very, very humble beginnings. I was illiterate till I was in high school, or excuse me, until I graduated high school. I was very poor. There's one point in my life I was eating out of trash cans, and not a lot of people know that. And it's a story that I let people know because I want to give back to this community, and I built Sports Performance. I founded it with my wife Stephanie, and I did it because I wanted to help the community. And we've been able to help people like you do more, stay healthy. We've built an amazing community of active individuals who just love being active and staying there. And we've been also able to build an amazing team of staff, of team members who love what they do, and they are obsessed with helping community members like you do more and stay healthy. And that to me is everything about Sports Performance, and why we did it and why we continue to do it. So I know this podcast was on on shoulder pain, but it also comes at a very important time for our company to celebrate 8 years in business of helping people like you. And would I do this again? Absolutely. Why? Because of you guys. So I hope that helps your shoulder. And if anybody has been to Sports Performance, you know how much it means to me, and the service that we provide, and what it does to impact our local community is massive. So thank you to all you listeners, and I'm excited to see you guys at FitFest tomorrow. All right, we'll see you guys on the next episode. Take care.